There you go.
Okay, we're ready? Okay, I call this meeting to order, the Parks and Rec Commission on April 12th, 2017. Roll call, please.
Boligoff.
Fryer.
Marmion.
Covino present.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Citizens' communications. This would be for things other than are on the agenda. I look out and see we have some people here, but I think maybe you're here for something that is already on the agenda. Is that correct? So there are no other citizens' communications? Okay, old business, grant funding for Crocker Park Trail.
So this is just a follow-up for the commission. We had talked about this as part of our CIP prioritization, and it was also on the list of projects for the Bike Pedestrian Trails Master Plan Group. We were proposing installing stabilized, decomposed granite surfacing on a portion of the Crocker Park Trail to increase accessibility for pedestrians, bicycle use, those using wheeled transportation, parents with strollers, etc. So Cliff Lentz, along with Renee and Lyle, were both present, as well as Michelle Chan from Lippman, in support of CCAG funding the project through a grant. So a majority of CCAG did vote to fund the project in the amount of $885,300. The total estimated cost of the project is about $1 million. And the funding process will allow for construction to take place in the coming year. So once I have a further update from our Public Works Department, I'll circle back with you guys and let you know where we are in the process. But wanted to let you know that we did receive grant funding for a majority of the project, and the city's very excited about that.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great news. Did you guys have any comments about that?
I just want to know, where are we going to get the funding for the rest of the project?
That's going to be talked about at the city council level.
Okay.
Lyle, any comments?
No other comments, no.
Okay. Moving on to new business, dog park resurfacing. And we have attachment for that, and we have some show and tell items up here. Renee, did you want to take this and talk with us a bit before we hear from the public? Or did you want to hear from the public first?
Well, how do you want to do it?
Let's get the overview, and then we'll hear from the public.
Do you want me to do the staff report? And
Okay,
then if the
yeah, do
commissioners
the
have
staff report.
additional
Okay.
information they want to offer, they can do so. So on March 30th, the Rec Facilities Subcommittee met with city staff from Public Works and Parks and Recreation to engage dog park stakeholders in the process of reviewing resurfacing options for the dog park. Dog owners expressed their frustrations regarding the current condition of the dog park, and conversation ensued with staff to determine the best course of action for the future. Park users were provided an opportunity to denote their resurfacing preferences after reviewing the options and provided feedback to staff accordingly, and I've provided that to you via attachment C in your packet. The majority of dog park users have expressed their support for natural surfacing over artificial surfacing at the dog park. At this time, the Commission should review the various resurfacing options and examples in attachments A and B and weigh the pros and cons for each. A redesign proposal schematic has also been submitted by one park user for your consideration, and I've provided that to you up there.
Yeah.
The Commission may elect to discuss further at a future meeting, but then must ultimately make a recommendation to City Council. Capital costs range from $3,500 to $60,000, depending on the options selected.
And what this is the diagram of the footprint of the dog park that Ted Reynolds put together. We can't put it on the overview? No? Okay.
It's a little awkward for that.
Yeah. But you can see this is the entrance at both ends, the grassed area.
Acre scale been drawn out. It's pretty close to everything.
I mean, really, if you have any further questions, you could really ask Ted who,
And Ted, you're the one who drew this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you want to maybe, let's hear from the public
Ted,
next, and then we'll,
do you want to come up, Ted, and talk a little bit about the drawing?
just
that
one
the
second though,
public can
I
hear
want
you?
to just show you, these are some pictures taken of the dog park, back,
in its
when,
heyday.
when it had grass and when it was being watered and maintained, so we could pass these all down through the commissioners while Ted explains the drawing.
Hi. Ed Reiterman. I did a sketch on it on Sunday. It's an 1/8 inch per foot scale. It shows all the existing improvements of the added DG that was put in about a year ago or less on either far end. And the yellowed areas obviously are the areas where real sod is what we'd like in those areas. A thought would be to actually expand the DG on the north end of the park, maybe even a little farther, because that end the grass doesn't grow very well at all. It's a muddy mess on that end. The upkeep is horrible. And it's also a part where you could put in a small divider fence at that area, so when the park is being restored or for maintenance or anything, that end of the park could be closed off with just two 6-foot gates could be used for any access for PG&E or whoever to get through, and the gardeners. But you'd also have a small 3-foot gate on the side. It could be a small dog park at that end. It could be also used. It could be left open if the park was being used for the whole length. It gives you options where you could close off the end of the park during the real muddy season and just have the DG in at the far end. And a lot of the pictures over the years, they're not very old either. And so we did have grass, and it did last. It needs water to grow. There's conflicting reports of why the grass died. Since we're there every day, it was due to either the irrigation not on, problems with the existing timer system at the park. It's either the batteries are dead, the solar collector, there's something wrong, we're waiting for a part, or it's on 2 days a week, and then it wasn't. Regardless of what reason it died, now we have basically dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be prepped and prepared properly for sod to grow well. The park's, it's talking 11 and a half years of use, of hard use. It's time to get a refluff and some vitamins in there, and you have other people's opinion on the choices also, but sod seems to be it's definitely my choice. You have any questions? Or?
I don't have any questions. Did anybody else have questions for Ted?
I just, on the pictures, who took the pictures? Yourself or some other people? Or
Some are.
because you said about the age. I'm just wondering to know the age of the pictures. Is it a year, 2 years, 5 years?
No, most are just a couple, maybe a year old, 2 years old.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ted.
Well, thanks for coming to talk to us, Ted, and thanks for doing this drawing.
You're welcome.
It's helpful.
Footages are pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So to scale off of where that, at least the city would know what the square footages are. As I wrote down the approximate square footages of those areas as far as bidding and whatnot.
Great, thank you. Anybody else from the public would like to speak? Should we?
Did you say you don't want sod?
No.
Okay. I missed that.
So, Renee, talk to us about the overview here. There's several capital costs. There are a couple of options. Some deal with artificial turf. I know the comments that were written in this report are all very much they want.
Well, one concern was when this was brought up, it was because we were in a drought, and do we go with turf again because there might be a drought again? But the maintenance on this, and from the dog park people, this has a lot of maintenance. You have to rake it. You have to put chemicals on it to clean it. You have to wash it down. So you'd still have to be using water, whether there was a drought or not. It just seemed like there was a lot more maintenance and odor and stuff. So who's going to do that? Is it going to be Public Works? Is it going to be the dog park people? You know, we'd have to figure that all out, the cost. And we had them fill out a questionnaire of what they preferred, and everybody that filled out the questionnaire, and some people, I don't know if there was any more questionnaires that came in. We left some down there. But the consensus from the people is that they'd rather have sod. Sod worked for 10 years, just as long as we go forward. And if there's any problems down there with the irrigation and everything, there is, as we all know, an app through Public Works for anything in the city that goes wrong. Any citizen can comment to Public Works and say something's wrong, and it'll be addressed from there. I tend to agree with the dog park people. It seems like grass is the consensus, and if it's properly installed correctly. James there, since the last time that the sod was there, now it's all dirt. He's got bags full of glass that's coming up now. So I think that's all going to have to be rototilled, and if you all agree on sod, to recommend to the city council. And I know that we have some pricing, but Ted has done some pricing too. So maybe we can do a joint vendor and see who's got the best price and go from there. So it looks like the consensus from the dog people is sod. I don't know what everybody else thinks here and what you're...
Well, it seems like they want sod, and sod seems, this would be more maintenance probably than sod. If you have to chemically treat it, you have to clean it off.
What's the chemical treatment thing? When I read this attachment A and I was reading the pros and cons, and I got into the chemical treatment, somehow chemical treatment and small animals didn't seem to...
I would think it has to be something to help whatever is on it biodegrade, possibly, because if you have a dog that is using it to use the restroom, it's going to be pretty hard to get every little bit off of that material. It's kind of like having carpet. It has to be cleaned.
Yeah,
right?
feces and urine and all that. So.
Yeah.
And that also involves water as well. Is that correct? So the water, the advantage of having this, you say, well, you don't have to water it, but that's really offset by this whole cleaning with chemicals and washing the chemicals out. That's really...
And you have to brush it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like shag carpet. Mm-hmm. Yeah, vacuum.
It seems
it's
counterproductive
nice
for dog park use to me, personally. If it's ornamental in front of your house, that's one thing, but something that, takes all that
It's gonna be
maintenance
used.
for the way dogs are going to be using it, it makes no sense to me.
And there is already sprinkler infrastructure in the dog park. So if we switch to turf, that would have to be torn out. If we switch to this, the sprinkling.
No,
you still use it.
Oh yeah.
Based on what Karen was saying for facilities, you would utilize the existing infrastructure of sprinkling for the watering of the turf to assist with the cleaning.
Clean it.
Yes.
So you're still using the same. You're still sprinkling it. You're still watering it. You just have fake grass. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Has anyone been to a dog park with artificial turf?
No.
No.
When your dog goes, it means you have to go over to the faucet, get the 5-gallon bucket with water, and walk over with the brush, scrub that area, and then flush it down. And I can tell you, people won't do that.
Yeah.
So what you're going to have is thousands of stains and residue all over the park.
Yeah.
With the odor. And artificial turf is usually 12 to 15 degrees warmer, the area around it, because of all the heat it radiates due to the plastic in it.
Yeah.
Grass is much cooler for the animals to run on, plus the temperature around it is a lot hotter too.
Right. And what's the bit about the glass that's coming to the surface? So
Jay-
what's the origins of that? And
Yeah.
And that has
Come
to
up,
be.
James.
Yeah, if anybody's going to talk, it would be great if you guys could go up to the podium because we won't hear it later, and the people outside won't be able to hear it.
So, basically, when the
You gotta go to that mic.
You have
Yeah,
to
go to
talk
the
at the microphone.
when the with the degradation of the sod and the grass, we're down to below what was below the soil, and apparently it had glass. I don't know if it used to be an old rail yard, but because there's no sod covering it now, all this grass is coming up, or the glass is coming up from the dirt, and as the wind blows and as the soil continues to erode, that small bag there I collected today in 20 minutes. I think it just provides more proof that we need to do something.
And this is a hazard to the pets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also we would need to do some remediation and pull as much glass out of the
I don't know.
undersurface as.
You have to rototill it
Yeah.
to put the sod, so that,
Once it's rotor tilled,
Yeah.
sorry, I'll speak louder.
Yeah.
no, come up to the,
Come up to the.
I can talk louder than this speaker.
Yeah, but you won't be on the recording.
Once it's rotor tilled, you'll probably pull up some old stuff, because it used to be a little party place for kids on bicycles and things in that stretch. There's a lot of broken beer bottles and whatnot, but as you rotor till, it'll come up. They add additives to it. They'll have to test the soil to see what to be added to it as far as nutrients. But any bit of grass stuff is going to be basically embedded back down into that, and the sod goes over the top. So, and sod comes with approximately 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of a root base already. So it's pretty much, it's isolated whatever chips are down there. So it's not going to keep coming up.
I see. Okay.
see, then it'll be leveled.
And his collection.
Yeah, and then it'll be all leveled and
you want
it'll
this
be,
back? So, what do the commissioners think? Are we ready to make a decision on this? Did you want to put this to another meeting, or are we ready to make a recommendation?
I think we
I'm
should.
ready to make a decision.
I'm
Yeah,
ready to make
let's
a
make it-
decision myself.
Me too.
So I'm not ready on decision, but because I want a fifth option. So we've talked about, and I think Ted has done it in the drawing, he's got a combination of expanding the DG plus sod. And we gave on the survey just 4 options. People want sod. I understand sod is desire, but the combination of sod and potentially extending DG, I think, needs to be an option as well.
What, can you tell me what what are you referring to? Extending DG?
It's a decomposed granite, so it's a hardscape. And we have some DG out there currently
Okay.
at both ends of the dog park.
So Teresa, on the drawing, we have it at both ends, and Ted has shown an area of where to increase that. Again, to me, the one factor that's not going away is the fact of drought, right? It's not something that's never going to happen again. So the question would be, we've had the dog park the way it is for 10 years, and it's in disrepair and a bad shape now. We want to keep it for 10 plus more 20 years as well, so potentially a compromise of 2, because if we lose the ability to water 3 to 4 times a week, which is based on what it says when it's normally there, the sod, we lose that ability, we'll start to lose the sod more. And we're going to potentially get to a point where we are now, where it's spotty at best, the sod. So the question would be, is there a compromise, or is there a way to work in more of the DG for long-term, financial and fiscal health, as well as environmental health? So I'm not ready to make a decision based on that to understand. Ted's drawn out some of the DG expansion he's thinking about, but again, I haven't heard other persons, dog park owners, understand or comment back if they're amenable to that solution potentially. So.
I personally would like to hear the feedback if there's already 2 areas of DG there. How do you like those? How do you think those work in there? Is it too hot? Do the dogs like being on it? Is it rough on their feet? I mean, any feedback that helps us make a decision on that part of it.
The dogs avoid it like the plague. They'll walk across it to get to the dirt. They love the grass. They love to roll on the grass. You never see them roll on that decomposed granite. They get off as fast as they can. If you're lucky, they'll use it to poop on because it's super easy to pick up the poop. I will say that about the decomposed granite, but that's the only good thing about it.
Okay. And that's a pretty unanimous opinion over there about the DG? Yeah, okay.
The DG is much hotter than grass. The dogs don't like it. I mean, it's crushed granite. It's hard. You can almost, it's like playing on pavement. It's easy to clean. You still have to water DG. DG needs to get soaked down to make the granules tighten back up again. It's not water-free. Nothing is water-free. Even decomposed granite, you need to kind of flood it down to level it in and tighten it up again. So,
Interesting. Okay.
So then, why did you want to extend the DG?
because the far end of the park, the grass.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't do well down there because
Okay.
of the trees. It's in the shade. The only time that end of the park is really used when it's really hot.
Okay,
People go to that end because it's shady.
okay.
And the DG being at that end will
Yeah.
create an area
Yeah.
where we could.
It's usable.
When it's getting too wet on the grass where you don't want to run it, we could isolate that
Okay,
park, let it heal itself up for a week or whatever, or two, and then
I
open
see.
it back up again. Plus, you could possibly let, if someone's got a dog in training, you could separate this by swinging the gates.
Yeah, I see.
Gives a little more versatility. to the
Yeah.
park.
I see.
I just want to follow up on what Ted said, though. He provided an option that where there's going to be other installation besides the sod, is potentially having a gate, like he said, so that you could keep the sod free from use while it conditioned, et cetera, and used at one end of the park. So that's another consideration to think about in the proposal, is just not laying down sod, it's potentially laying down sod and the installation of gates to segregate the park. And a couple of reasons Ted's given is maintenance, and the other thing is potentially to separate a large dog from small dog park, which sounds like a good idea, and that we need to take into consideration as well. It's not just a single sod installation, it's potentially sod installation plus a gate installation as well. In what I've heard Ted say. Yeah? Okay.
I like it.
Hey, I'm Sue Cochran, and I do want to encourage you to move forward with the dog park rehab. We used to love going to the dog park. Maybe we have 5 people show up on a regular basis. Here we are. It's a very social place to be, not just for the dogs, but for people. People would come there from out of town to bring their dogs. It was beautiful. It's not very pretty anymore. It's really, really sad. It's a sad, sad park. It used to be wonderful. Part of it was what Ted has done. Well, a lot of it is what Ted has done. Our dog father. I encourage sod. We have sod at the community park. It's wonderful. We have sod at the soccer fields. It's wonderful. And spend the money. The money comes back because people come into Brisbane and say, what a wonderful place to be. So don't be afraid to spend the money on our amazing park. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Lyle, with that explanation about the increased space of DG, are you ready to move forward? Are we ready to move forward with the recommendation, or do we want to put this off to the next meeting? Putting it off to the next meeting, of course, means that it's one more month that it goes through the process, and one more month till it starts. What's your thinking on this?
I guess my thinking is the option of it's a combination of, we're looking for the recommendation we want to put forth to the city council is a combination of expanded sod and a portion of DG.
Expanded DG.
Yeah.
Which, if it's on the shady side, which doesn't get used that much anyway, and grass doesn't grow so well there, it does make sense to take Ted's recommendation. That's my opinion.
And that's my opinion as well. But that, again, that's not an option that we've got listed on.
On our attachment A.
Right, attachment or what was also put forth on the survey.
Right. And it would also involve a little bit different cost analysis, because we would be adding a gate to it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Speak a little bit about the funding for this.
Yeah, and the commission, if you decide that you want to go with an option that is a combination between expanding the DG and replacing the sod, you can make that recommendation to the city council. And then we would do some additional research in terms of cost estimates. And I know Ted's already done some of the legwork. And we would include that as part of our presentation to city council.
Thoughts?
I've always liked the idea of a little dog park too.
Yeah, we've talked
About that for years, and we didn't do it. Because, like, for instance, my little doggy, y'all know little Oscar, he can't go down there because he's all scared he's scaredy cat
Same
of
with
all the
mine.
big dogs. Because they all want to play with him. They freak him out. So there's people like me that have a little dog that...
Yeah, I like
not.
the idea of being able to,
Yeah.
Separate 'em.
separate them. I also like the idea, thinking ahead, of being able to use that DG area when it's rainy and the grass is soaked, and kind of having having something that covers both situations and giving the park time to heal when it is soaked, so it doesn't get all dug up by the dogs running through it. I think it just makes really good sense. It's really good thinking.
So do we need a motion to put this,
Yeah.
to move
Yep.
this forward?
Yeah.
So who would like to put a motion?
I will put a motion to put it forward.
And the
As
motion
You have to
is...
say it.
Oh, the motion is, how do I phrase this?
But everything,
New
but everything in there.
sod,
Of
the
the DG.
partition, the
DG.
yeah, the DG and the gate, whatever else is needed, as Mr. Reiterman said. Works for me.
Fixing the irrigation systems that they work. All maintenance. Anything, we might as well fix it correctly.
Do we have a second to that?
I'll second it.
Was that a clear enough motion for you guys? or
Sorry.
did you
No,
want
could you
something a little-
restate that just
You
so
have
that
to
it's clear for
restate it.
everybody?
Seriously?
Sorry,
Yes.
Teresa.
Okay. The sod, extending the DG, and putting in the gate. Make a motion for that. Okay.
And Renee seconded.
Okay. Any,
And
co-
I
any,
think you have to repeat it now, Mr. Chair.
I have to repeat it.
Yes, you should
So we have a
repeat it.
motion, put on the floor and seconded that we will recommend to the city council that we would like to put sod in the dog park, expand the DG area as Ted has recommended, and also put a gate in it, a gate to separate. That's the motion. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hit your little thing.
No. Okay. Thank you all for coming down. Yes.
By all means.
You can
yeah.
stay to the end, yeah.
And-
You can stay to the end and speak on any of a number of things.
Well, the other thing is to, when will this go to city council? When's our next meeting?
So we'll take the recommendation and draft it into a staff report, and we can propose it for the May city council meeting.
May.
If
I
for
just
some
know that
reason-
they're having their cleanup on April.
April
22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
If for some reason it gets deferred from the May agenda, it will be on the city council agenda for June.
Okay.
But we'll try for May.
Yes.
Yum, my favorite.
Thank you.
Does this stay with us?
Thank you.
Does this stay with us?
See ya.
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
keep it.
okay.
Yeah, keep it. We'll take it to the
City
council meeting.
Okay, next item under new business, Day in the Park Derby selection date. Staff.
So I feel like we should have this conversation as a commission and settle on a date. We had this conversation last year at the subcommittee level when we decided ultimately to move the date to the final weekend in September, noting some conflicts on the first weekend of October. But after doing last year's event, we realized that there are also conflicts on the last weekend of September, being the Fog Fest in Pacifica. South San Francisco had their concert in the park event that same day. So at this point, staff's just looking for direction from the commission if there's a preference for one weekend over the other, so that we can go ahead and begin the planning
Go back to
preparation.
October, you're suggesting?
So it would either be the last Saturday of September, which is September 30th, or the first Saturday of October, which is October 7th.
I personally would be fine with going back to October 7th. I think the whole push last year, I mean, yes, we were talking about conflicts, but it seemed that the most discussion revolved around soccer conflicts, which the further we got along, we realized that skipping that one day didn't take away the soccer conflict,
Right.
that it was every weekend.
Right.
So I don't really know why we changed
And
it.
last year also, the first weekend of October they planned the city's 55th anniversary event that
Oh,
same day.
that's right.
That's true.
So that was the other conflict with last year that we won't be up against this year.
So we should move it to October.
Didn't we have wasn't the conflict too, didn't they have wasn't that the Hardy Grass Festival in San Francisco?
It's
Hardly
the bluegrass,
Strictly.
hardly strictly business in
Yeah.
San Francisco, I think.
Was,
That was going on
Hardly
the same
That was
weekend
going on the
as-
same
as
weekend,
the
too.
one we
That's what
did,
I
yeah. And then there was the Fog Fest and,
oh yeah, all the fests
It's a
were
busy
that
time of
weekend.
year.
yeah.
I think it's hard sometimes to try to schedule something that doesn't conflict with any other regional festivals.
You're bound
I
to.
imagine if we go back to the 7th, we'll get up to it and we'll realize, oh, there was the something festival that we hadn't counted on, and at some point, you just kind of,
I think
this is our festival, we're doing it here, and
yeah, I think everybody in Brisbane pretty much knows it's always the first weekend in October. It might have thrown some people off last year.
Yeah.
I think moving it back and keeping the continuity and the consistency
agree.
is probably a good
I
thing.
agree.
Okay.
My opinion.
October 7th, you said?
October 7th is the first Saturday. Yep. So if nobody has any other preference, we'll just move forward with that date.
okay.
Okay.
Moving on. Okay. Creation of ad hoc subcommittee for Festival of Lights.
I think that's
Free.
Renee and I.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not specifically for Festival of Lights, it's for the tree.
Oh, for Festival of Lights tree.
Yes.
Ah,
So this came
sorry.
up with open space and ecology because they were pursuing various options for fixing, maintaining the existing tree out there because the shape is not ideal. And Tim Chang hangs the lights every year for Festival of Lights. And last year he had to put up supplemental branches to even out the tree.
It looked good.
Yeah.
I would have never known there were supplemental branches.
It looked good, huh?
But between Public Works and Open Space Ecology, they have acknowledged that there needs to be some remedying of the tree, and Open Space and Ecology has started to have the conversation about whether or not it's something that should be replaced. They've talked about trimming, and so we thought if it's something that's going to be done that would impact the Festival of Lights event, and it is a part of the park's, facilities, that we should have part of the Parks and Recreation Commission be involved in that conversation. So I'm bringing it here to you tonight to make a decision about who should be involved in having that conversation with the OSEC committee members that have been identified. There's two of them, whether it be the Festival of Lights subcommittee representatives or the Recreation Facilities subcommittee representatives because it's part of the park, or if the commission wants to just create an ad hoc subcommittee that would work with OSEC to determine the future of the tree.
Why don't you have one of each, one from the subcommittee of Festival of Lights and one from facilities? Could do something like that.
that.
and-
That makes sense.
Who's on facilities?
So facilities is Renee, Lyle, and Karen
So I could represent,
for Festival of Lights.
and then Renee would go for facilities, right?
If I could, if,
Or Lyle.
Have at it, Renee.
If it's Renee and Bonnie, you guys are the Festival of Lights subcommittee.
there.
It might make more sense for it to be Lyle or Karen. if you want one from each,
Yeah,
I guess.
I will do it.
okay.
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 So Bonnie and Lyle.
What's Bonnie and Lyle?
Not to be confused with Bonnie and Claude.
Add that.
So what we'll do is we'll work with OSEC to arrange the first meeting and kind of talk about the various options that are being discussed.
Okay.
Okay?
Next up is commission reorganization.
So that's you, Kevin, because Karen's not here this evening.
I'm in charge of reorganizing us.
Right. So,
So this is when we reorganize chair, vice chair, and
Yes.
secretary would be the third
Right.
person.
Yes.
And also, this would be the intersection at which we would look at committee reassignments. But I would suggest that we put that off until we have our new commissioner, and maybe even a meeting or two after that until he or
Yeah.
she gets their bearings before we. Does that make sense?
yes, and the timeline, just so that you're aware, the recruitment for the vacant position is open through next week. Friday is the last filing date. As far as I've been informed, there's one applicant at this time. And then interviews will be scheduled with City Council at their April meeting, and they're hoping to swear that individual in at their May council meeting. So,
Would that be in time for our next commission meeting?
no,
No, it would be the following commission meeting.
it would be the following meeting.
So,
Yep.
so do we have nominations from the floor for?
I nominate
Chair.
Kevin to be chair.
I would second that.
And I'll nominate Lyle to be vice chair.
And I'll second that.
And secretary?
It was Teresa.
Who's the secretary now?
Teresa is. It's a high-profile job. Did you want to stay as secretary?
Well, stay. I don't think I'm secretary now, am I?
Yes.
You are. You are.
Am I?
Yes.
How did that escape my mind? I've never had to use it.
So if the chair and the vice chair are not present, then
Right.
you would conduct the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have a slate with me as chair, Lyle as vice chair, and Teresa again as secretary.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You want to vote, Lyle?
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. Yes, I vote positive. Yes.
Yes, you're okay
Yeah.
with that?
I'm okay with that. Yes.
And do we vote on this?
Do we have to vote on
Yeah.
this?
We make a motion? How
Yes.
does this, what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just vote
Okay.
individually.
That's,
Go down the
Individually.
line and vote, and
Yeah.
and then if we have a consensus, then we can make a motion to.
We seconded all the nominations.
we seconded all the nominations, so we
Okay.
just vote on it. So all in favor of that slate?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
It's done. Reports, chairperson, which would be me, and I have nothing to report. Subcommittee meeting reports. What subcommittees have met? It's been 2 months since we've met, so there are a number of subcommittees that have been out there.
I don't know what we've met on.
Yeah.
So the facility subcommittee has met with the dog park owners on a couple of occasions at the dog park to discuss what the agenda item tonight that we talked about already. So our report is tonight's agenda.
That's been done.
Yeah, that's done. So that,
Okay.
I mean, that's from the facilities, what we've met, and that's a report from the facilities
Okay.
subcommittee.
Like we said, they are having a cleanup day, April 22nd at the dog park.
At the dog park.
Yeah.
Concerts in the park.
Did we meet on that?
I can't recall because I think we didn't meet, and then I think I was out the meeting before that, so I don't recall if we.
So,
Trish?
so the meetings that are on here are the meetings that met
Oh,
in between.
okay.
So you have
Thank you.
Habitat Restoration Day,
Habitat
you have
Restoration.
public art, and you have recreation facilities.
And we should have just taken those in order. Habitat Restoration Day, my bad. Habitat Restoration Day.
want to speak?
And
We didn't
who-
meet on that. It was already decided.
Discussion
usually
of
meet-
Well, you did have a meeting after, if you recall. Jeff was going to speak on that.
Okay.
So for our Earth Day, Habitat Restoration Day, well, we did meet and
that's
talk
right.
about all three locations, and then we talked about the artwork for the T-shirts. We decided locations for Earth Day the location for Earth Day would be the same location as last year, so Monarch Drive and Mission Blue on the hillside there. And today, I myself, Steve, and Karen met with Ariel from San Bruno Mountain Watch, and we did a walk of the site to see what invasive plants that we'll be removing to help for the habitat.
What site?
The site for Earth Day,
Okay.
the Monarch Drive and Mission Blue Drive, the intersection of there. It's a hillside as you drive up Mission Blue. And then at the subcommittee meeting, we also discussed a location for and date for the Habitat Restoration Day, which it was previously in July. Now it's going to be, I believe, the last weekend in June. I want to say maybe the 24th. And we decided for that we're going to be restoring the Costanos Canyon. And then the third event, Coastal Cleanup Day, which is in September, we discussed options of moving away from the lagoon cleanup. There was an option at that meeting to move to the bay, like front, kind of near just the Candlestick Park off-ramp exit. And so we have that as an option. We had an option of moving the location to the marina, as well as keeping the location at the lagoon. So that is still up for further discussion where we're going to be for the September site. But we do have confirmed plans for our Earth Day event, which is April 22nd, and then our Habitat Restoration, which is, I believe, I can look it up right now for you. It is Saturday, June 24th, which will be Costanos Canyon. Any questions or comments?
Just a question on the beach cleanup. You had three options you talked about. Who decides what's going to be selected as the choice to clean up? Subcommittee is?
We will discuss again at the next subcommittee meeting,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
The sites were decided by open space.
And San Bruno Mountain Watch had.
Yeah.
We used to do it.
They left us out of the,
They took it away.
we're part of that.
Yeah.
Okay, and next, Subcommittee's Public Art Implementation Guidelines, final review. I'll speak to that unless you wanted
go
to.
ahead.
We did meet. It was a very short meeting. We made a few little changes in it, nothing major. It's ready to go to City Council. I understand it's not going in April. It will go to City Council in May,
Right.
currently. And recreation facilities, we already heard from that. Setting subcommittee meetings. So what subcommittees need to meet? Day in the park?
Day in the park, we need to get that ball rolling.
Did you want to?
And then I guess the ad hoc subcommittee for Festival of Lights has to meet.
So Day in the Park is Bonnie and Teresa.
Yes. Did you want to put a time on the calendar to meet?
I have no problem.
I'm off work at 5, so 5:30 I could be over here. Well,
Let's see.
I'm usually off work at 5. I was late today.
We're going to look at the calendar.
Okay.
Wednesday the 26th.
Let me see.
That's
I
2
think I
weeks.
have a meeting that day,
20.
Oh, there is public art.
Public art is that day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
4 o'clock.
Oh, at 4 o'clock.
We could do it afterward. Well,
Yeah.
The 26th is not good for me.
Okay.
I'm leaving for a trip the next day. I imagine I'll be quite busy with packing and so forth.
how about May 3rd?
That will be my first day back to work.
Okay. What else?
The 10th. Okay. How about the 4th? Or no, you guys, you like Wednesdays.
It's okay.
It's okay, whatever.
Okay,
Thursday the 4th,
right.
May 4th.
And I could, if it helps, I could leave work I could be here maybe by 4:30 for a meeting.
Okay.
And that's May 4th?
Yeah.
So what time would you?
Or is 4:30 too tough? Do you want to say 5 o'clock?
Let's do 4:30.
Okay.
I
May 4th
think
up.
I can get out of the office
Okay.
a little early.
Perfect.
Okay, next is concerts in the park. And that is Teresa, Bonnie, and myself. We don't really need to meet on that. We have it set. Is that correct?
The bands are set. I don't know if we need
Are there-
to talk about any other issues, like, if we're going to do food trucks or, just the other extraneous things around concerts in the park, or whether that's being handled by rec at this point.
I would say I've talked with Steve about food trucks. We haven't moved too much forward with it yet, besides the fact of that. So if we wanted to meet as a subcommittee to talk about food trucks, or if you want Steve and I to do research to pick them, donations. The donation letters have gone out.
That's right. We need to talk.
Currently, we're at a total of, I believe, just over $9,600 in donations for concerts in the park. We did do a more widespread letter, so it went out to all the community members in the water bills, and then I got addresses and contacts from our Chamber of Commerce and sent it out to all the businesses on their Chamber of Commerce list. So we have gotten a wider donation list right now.
That's
Right.
more than we raised last year already, and there's still time.
Yes.
That's correct, right?
Yes.
We raised 82 or something. I forget the number.
Yeah.
80
Will we be doing any telephone follow-up? Perhaps?
With the donors?
With the donors?
Yeah, they're.
We're going to be
May,
giving
it might be best to schedule a subcommittee.
Well, yeah, I'm
Talk
just
about
thinking maybe
it on May,
those are
'cause
two
we're getting-
topics that we could have at
Yeah.
a subcommittee meeting
Yeah.
about. So let's go ahead and
I
schedule
think that would be
one.
better.
Excellent.
Teresa and Kevin?
Yeah.
That's the 3 on the right end over here.
Yes. Next week is good for me, except on. Well, we could even do it on Wednesday if it was at 4. But you can't come to a meeting till 5 or 5:30, right?
Ideally, most times that's correct.
Okay, so I have any time next week except for Wednesday.
Okay, let me see.
The following week is pretty bad for me.
This is the 15th. I can do what Monday is. Yeah. I can do Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday.
Monday?
Okay, Monday.
At what time?
Wait.
Monday, 17th? Are we closed on Monday?
Okay.
Day after Easter.
Monday the 17th?
Are we closed the day after Easter?
No.
Okay. At what time?
What's the date?
17th.
Can we do a 5:30 on that one?
Yes.
5:30. If you can't, it's Steve.
Roll that on my calendar, huh?
Events, events need to meet? There's nothing pending there. Festival of Lights.
Wait, what about the event that you're having in July?
Correct. I just saw Cliff over the weekend, and I asked him about that, and he said that the event organizer is working directly with Park and Rec,
Oh.
and we don't need, the ad hoc committee does not need to meet any
Okay.
longer.
Yeah, and I do have a little update on where that's at in the
That would be
department
great.
report.
Okay.
Okay. Festival of Lights.
I guess
Too
we've got to
soon?
meet on that. It's too soon.
Too soon? Habitat Restoration Day, we talked about that. Public Arts, we're done, at least for the time being.
Well, we're meeting Wednesday, or the.
Oh, yes, well, we do, yes, we do, but that's the ad hoc committee. And we will be looking at the 4 finalists for the
That's what I
RFP
thought.
for the library.
That's at 4:00.
Yeah. But our Public Arts Subcommittee we're on hold now.
Okay.
because we finished.
So I don't have to go to that meeting?
No, you do have to go to that meeting. That's part of the ad hoc.
That's
committee.
what I thought.
with City Council, okay. Recreation programs?
The only thing I can think of as a catalyst for having that meeting is the needs assessment survey is out to the community and it'll close at the end of the month. So if the subcommittee wants to meet before we bring the results back to the larger commission at the May meeting, we can do that. Otherwise, I can just bring back the results to the larger commission.
Just bring back the results, I think.
I think it's
No, you're right.
Teresa and Lyle.
Yeah.
So I leave the decision to
What do
you.
you think, Lyle?
Well, based on your availability, you won't be able to meet before the next meeting. So I'm acceptable and okay with them just bringing it back to the
Okay.
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 larger committee on the 10th of May.
We'll plan to do
Or-
that then.
Okay, facilities?
Mm-hmm.
Does facilities
I'm
need to
just-
meet?
What, I don't think.
I don't believe so. We've met a lot
Yeah.
last week
Yeah.
or last month on the dog park
The
issue.
dog park, so you're, okay?
Yeah.
Roof, roof.
Senior, and I am on that.
We don't have to meet.
We don't need to meet?
No.
Teen services, where are we with teen services?
Speak to that.
Yeah, well, I was looking that way because, yeah, we really haven't been meeting much.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Um,
And just waiting to build the yak for us to go forward is what our last report was.
Yeah, so we just created a flyer for teen opportunities over the summer that include the junior lifeguarding program at the pool, as well as our counselor and training program that we're running as part of our summer camp this year, and a little announcement about the yak. I think the goal would be to kind of get people involved and engaged in that age group over the summer and have them carry over to the yak for the fall. So maybe as the summer progresses, it might be good for the teen subcommittee to get together maybe in June or July in advance of that fall kind of anticipated yak relaunch.
Okay. Sounds good.
Trails development?
Well, we can't do anything yet until we find out what's going on with the grant, you
With the
know,
grant.
with the rest of that. So
Right.
I guess we just kind of wait.
Okay, and Trails Master Plan, and Lyle, you are the representative to a larger,
That I am, yes. And there hasn't been anything that I'm aware of to scheduled yet. Again, but the Crocker Park is part of the overall master plan, so this
Right.
is a good kudos for that we have that piece. But there's still more to come, yes.
okay. And the last bit is the use of the 280 South Hill sale proceeds, which has been sort of in hibernation. Is there any forward motion on that? I wonder if with the grant, if there might be some interest in having that meet at some point and talk about how those funds, if there is a situation where those funds could be applied to some aspect of the Crocker Trail.
Yeah, I could follow up with Stuart and then have him connect with you if he thinks that it would be an appropriate time to do that.
And that's a joint with
OSIP.
Open Space and Ecology.
Yes.
Have you guys ever met yet?
No.
Ever? I mean, really, they should meet. I mean, I don't know what where's that money? Is it in the bank making interest? So
Yeah, it's
they
just
should.
been a
That's
holding
been a long
pattern.
time. It's almost been a year.
Yeah.
So they should, let's put a fire under them. Let's
Yeah.
figure out what's going on. I think you're right.
Okay, any items from commissioners? Any reports?
Written communications,
Did I miss something here? Commissioners,
commission matters. Are we looking?
I'm at
Oh, no, no.
C.
I jumped ahead.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay, and so next up is staff program reports.
So forgive me, these microphones are not working too well tonight, so hopefully everybody can hear us out there. So we have the resident registration and just opened up for all of our summer activities in our nice new summer activity guide. We have a lot of new things. The non-resident registration opens up next Tuesday, so we're getting We're a little slow so far, but I know it's going to get crazy soon. We have a lot of new things we're offering this year. Sam Bruno Mountaineers. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. We're going to partner with San Bruno Mountain Watch and have a sort of mountain camp for the children. So that's something new we're offering this year. The CIT program, which Noreen mentioned, which is the counselors in training, will be working with summer camp and learning how to be counselors for the kids. We're going back to having a preschool camp this summer. It's a 6 week camp, so you can sign up per week or you can sign up for the whole thing. We have a new art camp. Shirley Lim, our youth art instructor, which everybody loves, is going to be doing a 1 week watercolor art camp for the kids. We've got weekly swim lessons this year. Instead of 2 weeks at a time, we're going to do them weekly. So that for the people who, sometimes people can't do 2 weeks and they kind of lose out on time. So Jeff decided to do a weekly swim lessons this year. So I think that's going to go over well. Junior lifeguarding camps coming up, and we're doing a new Friday senior program. And then we also have the Community Giants Night. Tickets are going on sale next Tuesday, and it's going to be Friday, June 23rd at 7:30 versus the New York Mets. And those are all the new things we have going on in our summer.
And the last weekend of March, I believe it was March 25th, we had our second dive-in movie, and we had over 70 people there.
Wow.
So we did The Secret Life of Pets, and it seemed like it was well attended. We did have hot chocolate and some cookies available for sale, which some people took advantage of as well.
Can I ask you what the age demographic is for that?
It ranged from, I would say, maybe like 5 to teenagers in the pool. And
Like
then,
young teens or?
like young teens.
Okay.
And then, so up to maybe middle school, maybe young high school. And then there was quite a few parents. On deck as well. So,
Right.
I would say for as many people in the water, there was that many people on deck as well.
Okay.
And this year we decided, well, it's a free event, and then we'll cover costs through, snacks that we sell there.
And was that an increase in participation over the first one?
It was. The last one was maybe about 50 people. So, yes, an increase.
Better weather or just more enthusiasm? Or both?
Probably both.
It was cold. I was there that night. I was all bundled up, but it was good.
Cold.
But a lot of kids stayed in the water. It was warm for them in the water. Yeah.
I'm hoping that now we've done 2, people know that these events are going to be going on. So the next one we plan, hopefully we'll have even more people attend.
Well, 70, that's a
Yeah,
successful
that's-
number. That's
Yes,
That's
exactly.
a nice number.
That's a good number, yeah. Right. Well, thanks, Jeff.
I just have a few additional updates. So as I mentioned, the needs assessment survey is out to the community. It's 30 questions. We blasted it out through all of our kind of online platforms. We also have hard copies available in various city facilities. We've collected 71 responses so far, hoping for a few more. As I mentioned, we'll leave it open until the end of the month. We just went through a video camera upgrade at the pool. So we've updated the system up there, installed a couple of additional cameras for better surveillance, and just have a more robust system up there for surveillance at the pool. And this was part of an upgrade that was done throughout the city, here at City Hall and at the courtyard, as well as the marina. The Star City Music Festival, that's the July event that's being held. I'm working with the 2 contracted individuals, Jimmy Leslie and Michael Ross, to coordinate that event. We are about 2 weeks away from launching online ticket sales. They have a website that they're in the process of setting up. So they're planning their kind of massive release and launch in the next couple of weeks. They already have local musicians and bands lined up and booked. They're planning a kids makers tent, so they'll have a kids area. They'll have beer and wine. The Lions Club has committed to doing food. They'll have a few other food vendors as well. It'll take place from 11 until sundown in the community park. And they're going to sell tickets in advance as well as at the gate on the day of the event. So,
What are the ticket prices?
early bird ticket sales are $15, and that covers the whole day. People will have in and out privileges as well throughout the day.
How is the run part of that shaping up?
That's a great question for Cliff, because he is kind of championing that process. The last that I heard, the initial permit submission from the city was denied for a variety of reasons, and
By
so
the county, correct?
by San Mateo County, yes,
Right.
By the county park system, and so I know that Cliff did a lot of work to go back to the drawing board and revise some of the proposed routes and aid station placement, and he resubmitted the proposal to the county, but I have not heard that he has gotten a response from them at this time. So the race portion of the event is still up in the air, but the music festival portion is moving forward regardless.
Okay.
Just wanted to share with the commission that we had our first annual Parks and Recreation Department retreat up at Mission Blue with our staff. We had about 20 staff people present from a variety of program areas, including aquatics, our preschool, our after school, our facilities team, just to kind of connect the department across various program areas. We covered topics including customer service, communication, teamwork, innovation, change management. We kind of folded in what we've done with the commission in terms of making memories and having that be our goal and our mission and all that we do. So it was a very great afternoon with all of the team together, and we aspire to continue that on an annual basis. Just to note that the fire hydrant restoration event is coming up. We're taking reservations for hydrants. I already have several in the works. We went out and kind of did a master catalog of the hydrants in town, what has been painted, what should be up for restoration. I've been working with the fire department on that as well. So the event will be held May 20th and 21st. If people are interested, they can reserve a hydrant in advance. But we're excited to do that event again this year. And then just wanted to mention that the April 22nd is a big day for us here in Brisbane. You've heard earlier about the dog park cleanup that's taking place that morning starting at 9 a.m. Earth Day from 10 to 1, and it's the final Live at Mission Blue concert of the series.
That's right.
Busy day in Brisbane.
Busy day. Thank you, Noreen. Next up is written communication.
And I received something just today about the topic you just covered, which was fire hydrant restoration. And that is the same day as the spring performance for Brisbane Dance Workshop. So a lot of the kids are going to be up there taking part in that event. And Brisbane Dance Workshop is hearing a lot from parents who are asking, why has this been scheduled on the same day? And, my kid's going to be wiped out for the performance if we're painting all morning. So, yes, choices need to be made sometimes, one or the other. But I didn't know whether that date was set in stone, whether it has wiggle room. And if it doesn't, that's fine. But can we please request next year that it be scheduled on a different day?
Yes, absolutely.
And Brisbane Dance Workshop is 2 performances, both Saturday and Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a busy week. There's tech rehearsal on Thursday, dress rehearsal, or vice versa on Friday, and then there's 2 performances Saturday and 2 performances Sunday. It's a marathon.
Is their date always set the same date every year?
I'm not sure that it's the same date every year. It's always in May. I don't think it's really the same date, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like the third week or...
I think it was earlier last year. I think it was like the 14th, 15th. But I know that it is always in May. So
Right.
going forward, we should be aware to
Yes.
avoid that conflict.
okay.
'Cause we want to have optimal participation in both. So thank you for mentioning that.
Sure.
Any other written communications? Commission calendar.
I don't know. What are we going to talk about at our next meeting?
Well, we'll bring back the results from the needs assessment survey.
Right.
Speaking about the needs assessment survey, it's okay for me to repost this link on other social media sites asking for responders?
Yes.
Okay.
Feel free.
All right.
Is there any specific topics the commission wants to bring to the May meeting?
No.
None that I
All
can
the
think of.
meetings, I guess. is all.
Yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
reporting.
we'll recap the subcommittees.
So it will be a short meeting unless
Unless
more
other
things
things
fall
come
our
up in
way.
the meantime.
And then-
Right.
Mhm.
And we may have an answer from the city council regarding the dog park resurfacing by then, or not yet?
I think the regular May council meeting isn't until after our meeting.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have an update on that until our June meeting, if that's the case.
When's their next meeting?
I don't know.
Yeah,
They've changed their calendar
I
quite a
know.
few times because of the Baylands schedule.
Yeah,
So
that's what
I don't have that.
Their next meeting,
yeah, do you have?
regular meeting is the 27th
Okay.
Well, of April, yeah.
of April. Oh, you mean in May?
Oh, April. We could get the dog park on their schedule?
For April?
Yeah.
No. They have a very full agenda for
Oh.
the April meeting.
Oh, we can't just slide it in there
No.
real quick. Come on. After all these years,
Okay, any other business?
slide it in there.
Then I will adjourn this meeting at 7:35.
Right.
Good meeting.